Okay, so we have the unique honor of moderating the zombie session, as we say, post-lunch, and I'm sure we get that a lot. But mobile monetization, mobile advertising. This was supposed to be the answer to every marketer's kind of dilemma. When we look at advertising on mass mediums, the biggest dilemma is wastage, media wastage. You're trying to hit a mosquito with a bazooka. And mobile marketing was supposed to be the answer where you actually had better targeting, you knew who your consumer was. It was meant to get the right message to the right audience. I think in India we've seen 40% growth over last year, but the base is still relatively small. The industry has seen some challenges, and I think a large part of that has been with the number of advertisers that have managed to come on board and tested the medium. So, I'm going to kick the session off by just throwing some questions to some of the panelists. Sandeep, I sat with you, I remember, 3 years ago at the Dentsu office, and at that time we were talking about innovation and the different things Dentsu was doing at that time in Japan, where we were talking about these advertising strategies that utilized mobile advertising, it utilized a platform that kind of was very complementary to what was happening on television and on billboards. 3 years on, where is that play? We're talking about the innovation. Are we seeing enough innovation today in mobile advertising?
Rishi, I think, since you refer to Japan, Japan is anywhere between 10 to 20 years ahead of where we are with mobile advertising. They've been at it, and they've been at it extremely well for at least 15, 20 years. Now, we haven't even started to scratch the surface. I mean, when we started doing this entire exercise for Airtel, where today we sell their entire inventory, we are really faced with two very simple problems. One is ignorance, and the second is inertia. So, you will run a multiples of crores campaign on television, you will spend money on press, you will also spend money on digital, now that it's also part of the menu. But all you really do with mobile is either wait or tick the box by putting in, a token couple of lakhs. So if somebody asks, you can always say, yeah, we are also on mobile. So I don't think we've even started to scratch the surface, let alone start talking innovation.
Okay, but the consumer is already there. We were talking about this. About 30 or 40% of just the Times Group. So if you take the entire audience, we're about 30 million uniques. But just on the Times of India's mobile site, our website, we have about 7 million uniques on a monthly basis, and that's a large audience. Right? We've seen the consumer shift happen. We've seen it happen actually from print to online, and now we're seeing the consumer, accessing the same content on his mobile handset. But the revenues don't seem to kind of stack up, and with every medium that we where the audience moves to, we seem to gain less and less of a yield. Is there a solution to that?
I think the primary issue is one of having an ecosystem. There is really no mobile advertising ecosystem actually there in the country. You really don't have a set of ad agencies who understand how a website has to be created or a site has to be created for the mobile, the two different products in themselves. They don't understand the basic nomenclature of what we are discussing. So I think you got to start at that level. When I go see clients and I try and explain to him that we can do this pinpointed, targeting of your consumer, he seems very interested, but then he's dependent on his ad agency. The ad agency is dependent on the media agency. The media agency has a planner. The planner has a buyer partner. Neither of them understand what we are saying. So at the end of the day, you don't really move forward. So unless the entire ecosystem starts to come into place, I don't think you're going to have any very large volumes actually moving to the medium.
Badri, talking about the ecosystem, you run Moj and you run Mobango. Now, Mobango has created a system where you aid a lot of independent developers both to distribute and monetize their applications. It's a start, and we've had some early success with Mobango when we were doing the IPL last year. I was asking you a question earlier. Is the success few and far between, especially in a model which is largely ad supported?
Yeah, I think it's a bit like the mutual fund industry. For every successful fund, there are 10 others which are not successful. It is a lot like that, I think. I think still. There are still great examples of, you see, when the whole app ecosystem had one huge promise for developers, which was that content would get democratized, meaning that a good app and a good content will find its own audience. And then it's no longer just the play of large media companies. I don't think that promise has quite held up yet. And if anything, when Mohit was pointing out earlier that Google Play has got about 600,000 apps and App Store has got about 600,000 apps, it's just impossible for a customer to find what he wants. So for a developer, a typical life cycle downloads on Google Play is probably about 25,000 today. It's nowhere close to the volumes that anybody needs to kind of drive meaningful ad revenues off an app. So hence, that's the play in Mobango. We wanted to create an alternate marketplace apart from Google Play and the others and try and have apps on board and try and give a real opportunity. We have seen some success stories globally. Obviously, the greatest success story of in-app advertising is Angry Birds. They make 3 times the amount of money on the free version than they do on the paid version. But in the Indian context, we're missing Nitish from Nazara here today, and we are obviously on the mouth side of it. We also help game aggregators, game developers monetize through the operators. That still stays to be the dominant monetization channel still for app developers. There are fantastic successes. I'm sure Karan will talk about the examples of eServe. I think it's early days. I think we'll see. I think the market can change 3 times over still before we settle into an equilibrium. I think that's where we are.
Okay, so if I'm an independent app developer and I'm looking at monetization, there are multiple things I can do. I can build an app which is a utility app. I can build something in the gaming space. I can build something in the content and entertainment space. In your experience, where has ads performed the best? Where do advertisers seek to put their money behind? Because if I were to take a cut kind of call, when I'm usually using anything that's very utility driven, I don't tend to click or even notice the advertising. I tend to just skip it. When I'm playing a game, my mind seems to be more open to companion banners, to whatever else advertising. So is that a trend that you've seen?
Let me speak on the customer side. On Mobango, some of the most popular apps we've seen are actually the entertainment apps. We see browsers being very popular. We see social networking very popular. We see messengers and chat being very popular. Those 4, they just take off in terms of downloads. You hardly need to do anything to kind of get them going. Just as examples, for example, I think for Opera Mini, just Mobango, we have amongst the smallest app stores in the world. We've given more than 10 million downloads for them. For a messenger app like Nimbus or whatever, we've done another 5-6 million downloads for them. It's just consumer wants it, and I think those are the apps with greatest stickiness and greatest brand recall. I'm not exactly sure how they're kind of faring on, because all these people, for example, Opera, for example, Nimbus is also getting into things like, can I have in-app purchases? Can I complement that with advertisements? They've also approached us on the mouth side and saying, can we sell premium apps to our community, which is already runs into millions of users in India. So they are also exploring every possible revenue monetization model that's available in when you have an audience that's sticky with you. I am not that close to know which is exactly working for them or not, but I think it's still early days for them, because I see everybody experimenting with all the 3 modes of monetizing within the apps.
Yeah. So today the different modes for monetizing, clearly, one is the freemium version where we actually have an app that's free, it's available for download, and then you either have an upsell or you have certain features that are unlocked, and that is largely happens through an in-app purchase. Right. The other is completely ad supported. Correct.
Absolutely. I think some of the companies in China have shown led the way on the in-app purchases, which is what I think has made Tencent what it is in the world's biggest company in that respect. I think in India still premium is still what is kind of doing very well. People actually paying 5 rupees and 10 rupees and actually kind of consuming the content they want. I think we'll see. I think as the audience matures and as rightly we pointed out, if some of the ROIs on mobile get better on the advertisement side, right. I think we are still a bit there.
Okay, thank you. Karan, you probably see more mobile companies and more pitches than any of us here. Innovation in this space, do you think there is enough innovation? Do you feel that right now it's time to kind of say, let's focus on getting the advertisers on Let's not try and kind of overcomplicate things, because today, there are a number of different innovations that people talk about. You have audio jingles, you have ad jingles, you have SMS alerts, you have pre-rolls, you have post-rolls, you have now location-based advertising. When do we kind of say, look, this is enough, and now let's try and figure out how to get more advertising, get more dollars and stuff like that. So when you look at a company, are you looking at more innovation, and are you willing to fund more innovation, or are you going to help the ecosystem in some way improve and kind of help raise the revenue a bit?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. I think part of it is what Sandeep touched upon, which is creating the mind share within the advertising community and the ad agencies that mobile is a big constituency for advertising to go to and to be able to reach a mass number of people in a very targeted way. And I think we're very, very at the initial stages of that process. So I think that's one point. I think on the second point, in terms of innovation, what Badri touched upon, which is in the last 2 or 3 years, as mobile advertising has been slowly growing in India, it's basically been on the back of pure ad-supported models. And with some of the companies that are in our portfolio and some of the other companies that we've seen at the cutting edge of that innovation, things like in-app purchases or try and buy or freemium-based models are just starting to emerge. And a lot of that is supported by the move that the carriers have been making in the last few months. Vodafone's announcement to give 70% revenue share, I think, is a milestone event for app developers, for ad networks, for advertisers, because it allows new sort of innovation around advertising to happen, and it gives a billing pipe for a lot of the developers to further monetize what they're doing. So I think at a high level, that's how that's my sort of take on the current state of the market. As an investor, I think innovation is always key and is always important, and in this sort of sector, you cannot scale without some level of innovation. But it has to go hand in hand with the ground realities. There's no point having the best video advertising format, which nobody's actually going to click on, and you're not being able to monetize that for the publisher. Advertisers not pushing money on that. It has to be a little bit more on, okay, it's something. It's a particular format which is more compatible with games. So let's utilize that format there. No point having the best banner ad for an entertainment-based app that nobody's actually going to look at, or a utility-based app, as you mentioned. So I think part of it is the innovation, which is sort of it's a sanity check. It's a hygiene factor which needs to be there. The second part of it is just being hand in hand with either the advertisers or ad networks as your best friend. Say, what is it that is actually going to make money at the end of the day? Whether or not you have an investor, but as a business person, what is going to make money at the end of the day? So I think that's a stepwise process that a lot of entrepreneurs go through when they come out with innovative products in this side of the market.
Okay. Again, if I was an entrepreneur, I'm starting off again, and I'm deciding on what to focus on, who my target consumers, or even who my target advertising base is. Do you think the SME space is an opportunity? Because clearly that's where the paradigm shift could happen. These advertisers care about location, they care about who you are. You're mobile, and you're in a space where you could reach out to businesses around you, entertainment, food, whatever else is around you. Do you think that's a space that today is underserved, and that there's more that can be done there?
Yeah, no, I mean, clearly it's a very underserved space. If you look at what's in the early stages of the mobile app ecosystem, mobile advertising, there have been a few success stories, and I think we're just sort of scratching at the surface. So a few companies that come to mind. Some of them are our portfolio companies, obviously, but in video, if you look at what Apalia has been able to do, in music, if you look at what I think Ghana is trying to do, what Savan has been able to do. Right. On the gaming side, there's Nazara and a whole host of other companies that have done extremely well. So I think the basic tenets and the fundamentals are there in place today. I think there's if you look at what's happening, the SME space in India is not very, very different from the SME space in the US, or I'm not very familiar with the Chinese SME space. But if you look at workflow-based platforms, or enterprise-based platforms on the mobile side, which can be ad-supported, focusing on the SME space, I think those have a lot of promise. But I think they need to serve not one or two verticals within SMEs, but they need to be sort of pervasive and sort of all-encompassing in that sense.
Okay, thanks. Sandeep, for us at Times of India, it's important that our brand is positioned a certain way. We are very protective about our audience, and which is why we tend to not do too many deals which involve any kind of volume network play. So for us, we've always said, we can get better yield if we go and do direct sales rather than bundle it, and that's because we feel the CPM rates are low today. But as a brand, what's more important? Is it the volume or is it being associated with the premium network?
Rishi, it's good you asked this question because I'll give you two very clear examples of this. You know what mobile is capable of? The first actual advertiser in this new innings that we started for Airtel was none else but Star TV. And Star was launching a new channel for Life OK. And I just happened to go see Uday for a completely different reason. And the conversation meandered to the launch of this new channel. And I said, a new channel requires a lot of visibility. And all I see is a few hoardings here, there, and there. And you run maybe a couple of ads. Of course, you have your own network. But beyond that, are you really reaching everyone? So he said, what do you mean? I said, why don't you use mobile? So he said, why don't you use SMS? And as you would know, his deputy Sanjay is ex-Airtel. So I said, suppose I did give you inventory which was SMS, which means it would reach everyone, but it's not just SMS, it's good quality SMS inventory. To cut a very long story short, I offered him an SMS inventory called end of call notification. Now, I don't know how many of you understand what end of call notification is. Very simple. If you have a prepaid phone, and most of us do, when you use the phone, you get this little update which comes on and says you had 90 bucks and you got 89 bucks left. That's your end of call notification. So the first time in the history of Airtel, 16 years, they actually opened up that inventory and we tagged tonight 8 p.m. watch Live OK from Star TV. Now, can you guess the number of impressions we generated?
No, I won't hesitate.
See, in 4 hours, just 4 hours, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., the Airtel network generated 32 crore impressions. 32 crore impressions, 11.5 crore unique users were touched. Now, that kind of rapid awareness you cannot build with any medium. So, mobile has the advantage that it can go wide, it can create widespread awareness in very quick time, and as we discussed earlier, I can go pinpoint it. Now, to answer the question you asked earlier, I went to one of the largest handset manufacturers.
Sure.
And I explained to him that forget every other category, at least on handsets, I can tell you at Airtel, every subscriber's handset I know. I also know which was his last handset. I also know when he switched. I know his handset history from the day he started.
Right.
I also know source of business for your particular model. So I can pinpoint. So I can go down to saying if you are say Nokia Lumia, I can go down and figure out where is Nokia Lumia coming from, and I can actually attack competition if I want to. We got into a discussion. They have a panel. I'm taking a bit of a longish answer, but I want you to understand. They had a panel. And they said, we already have this panel data. We said, okay, since you have the panel data and you've been running this panel data for a long time, why don't you give us the panel data and we will cross-check it against what's happening on our network. So they gave us the top 10 source of business for a particular model or handset. We ran the data in one circle. 9 out of 10 did not match. We ran the data in 3 circles. 9 out of 10 did not match. We ran the all India data. 10 out of 10 did not match. So you are a large handset manufacturer stroke marketeer. You have been working as per a panel You have been buying media based on that panel, and it is 10 on 10 wrong. This is empirical evidence. I've been 6 months in discussion with the handset manufacturer, he still hasn't put money on mobile. No, that is the reality of the market.
Right.
So I don't know if I've answered what you asked, but that is the reality of the market. I can go wide, I can go pinpointed, but you got to have the mindset to understand that it can work or it will not work.
Okay. Yeah, well, partially I did. I want to know whether brands would actually see value in association with the premium audience and a premium network rather than, just saying let's play the volume game. But
The simplest answer there is today we have at least 2 or 3 international airlines with whom we work with, say, roamer data. And the conversion rates are extremely good because I know this guy is an international roamer or has been an international roamer or has been overseas. And within that, you can get to very interesting data. I mean, the problem with, say, international roamers is most people don't carry an Indian phone overseas. So how do you identify the guy? So we have various simple devices to figure out, did you ever receive an international call? Let's start from there. What is the traffic of international calls coming to you, which means you have friends or family or business associates overseas. That could become a, starting point. We also figured a lot of them are now talking IP for internet phones. So how do you identify that guy? Interesting one. You've seen the advertising, you all laugh over it, but it's the reality. We started to track, for example, missed calls made overseas. Because that triggers the other party from the other side to call you and, start that conversation. It certainly opened up a much larger business. Now, the moment you have target audiences fairly well defined, your conversion rates or click-through rates are phenomenally better. So if you're an international airline, using the data correctly would actually get you a fair amount of value. So, I mean, it's working, but you have to have the patience and you've got to go through the motions.
Someone really interestingly told me the other day that, you're a Mac user and you go to a certain OTA or website that has deals for airfare. They said, do you know that you're actually getting deals at a far more expensive rate than the guy who visits the same site on a PC? I was like, I don't even believe that's true. But on the mobile phone, the truth is that the perception of an iPhone user or an iOS user or someone on an Android platform and then with someone with a low-end Nokia phone is that there is a slightly different, audience you're talking to. But do you feel that in terms of advertising, brands, advertisers actually are cognizant of this and actually utilize this in some way to have different types of advertising?
So in terms of brands engaging on the apps, I think there are still very few examples still out there. We have seen some examples like the Axe deodorant came out with an app during the cricket time. We're using a cricket team. They did some work on it, and there have been contact lenses which came out with apps which said, hey, drink water to kind of stay to keep your eyes healthy and so on. There have been very small tactical campaigns more than something that is sustained. I think apps for brands, I think, is still virgin territory. It's still experimentative. People don't fully understand the costs of reaching an audience as compared to, they tend to think that making an app is the biggest thing. Actually, the biggest thing is actually getting the audience for the app. Yeah. It's ridiculously expensive to get an app into a user's phone and the user actually opening it and actually engaging with it. Right. And once they do that, then they don't have enough analytics to understand that the guy used the app, how many times, all the good stuff that Mohit was talking about, daily users, monthly users and all that. So I think it's still a bit far. I think it's at best used for awareness, and even that I'm not really sure how effective that awareness generation has been. IPL has been a great story actually, Rishi, it explores your heart. IPL has made an official scorekeeping app, has made the game apps. And I think there the apps as a way of taking what is a mainstream cricketing brand was actually one of the good examples or successful examples. And Obango Vituro with 5 lakh downloads for the apps and so on. So that's been, how much did it assist IPL further in the brand objectives? I'm not a marketer to kind of translate that. Maybe you can for us. But I think there have been some great examples where the brand is known, the app association is high, the usage is high, the monetization eventually is also good. But I haven't come across that many other, brand launches. There's another example I came across. Cafe Coffee Day used Foursquare to kind of tell people where is the nearest cafe coffee day. Some
Yeah.
of those, we've seen great examples, but a bit few far between. But still, they don't fully understand the app economy.
Right.
Sorry, I'll just add to that, which is, I think the ground reality is most of the phones in India, 90% plus roughly, are still feature phones.
Yeah.
So the kind of ad formats, the kind of advertising that you can do is fairly limited, beyond sort of gaming and some entertainment and maybe some utility apps.
Right.
And I think to get brands really excited, I don't foresee iPhone being a huge, mass medium in India because of the price points, etc.
Yeah.
But Android clearly is. It's on its way already. It's sort of a phenomenon that's underway. And I think you'll see over time the Android base overtaking the J2ME and the feature phone base. And I think once that reaches some sort of critical mass, and I think it's in the next few months or a year or so, I think that's when advertisers and brands will become a lot more excited about using it for premium ads or call to action ads or video ads, whatever. I mean, the format is irrelevant, but just getting them interested in that, I think a lot of it will be just that switch from feature phones to smarter phones, not smartphones necessarily, but smarter phones.
Yeah. I think part of the problem, and again, is that a lot of these brands and advertisers do not really have a mobile presence. So, we can always point someone in a newspaper to a retail outlet. You can talk to someone about, say, coming to a website, or you can, have banners that go there. But when you're on the mobile device, the truth is that 60% of the advertisers today are other app developers or other applications or websites. We've seen some innovation where brands have said, okay, we won't create websites, we'll actually create applications. So you see branded applications on the rise. So what is your take on that? Do you think the right way forward is brands to say, okay, we'll build our branded applications and go after the consumer, or to actually try different advertising formats and someone to come and create an ecosystem where you can actually deliver the messaging of the brand advertiser to the end consumer?
I think it's a combination. I think, like Badri said, creating an app is step one of maybe a 10-step process.
Right.
It's probably one of the easier things to do, right? So creating the app is one. Creating awareness around the app and what is the messaging that you're actually wanting to deliver. I think that's key. And I think to date, most brands and most of the things that at least I've seen, I think it's somewhat confused in terms of what the end messaging to consumers are. So they're like, okay, I see this app and it gives me this information, but now what?
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of a call to action, at least on the app side, for brands to fully monetize that or utilize that or get information about the customers. So I think that is a part of the discovery process. On pushing advertisements through third-party apps, that's already sort of happening. But I think to my earlier point, it's a question of the relevancy of it, and you're not going to get people to buy stuff on your phone just yet. It's the holy grail, but practically it's a few years away, and it's got other issues. So I think it's got to be a combination of that, and I think a lot of it is working with agencies, getting their mind share to also shift to mobile a little bit more, and I think that's happening. It's a slow process, but I think that's happening.
I'll take a slightly different take on it. I think brands can be successful in extending the services, if possible, on the app, not essentially just create brand awareness. So, for example, a Quicker.com could have deals available on their app, and so people engage with the product on the mobile. Whether they go to the internet and then pay for the ad or what is secondary, but the fact that you can extend the service to mobile is useful. In our own group business, Shaadi.com, we find that engagement on mobile app is tremendous. You can't actually pay 5,000 rupees through an app for a membership on Shaadi.com, but we find that people on the move, the number of profiles they view, express interest and so on is pretty dramatic. Similarly, on a real estate property search site, Makaan.com's app, you see exactly the same thing. So the extending the service through the app and then driving some other broader brand objective, not just awareness or transactions, maybe an engagement or something else. That could be the most effective way of kind of reaching out to your audience.
Yeah.
You just might get not just existing customers using the app, but newer customers saying, hey, I didn't realize, I could kind of post an ad on Quicker on the go or something like that. You might be able to attract new audiences to your brand.
Yeah.
So that I think is we have seen lots of success stories on that front, more so than than let's say a Colgate trying to create a cricket game called Colgate or something
Right.
like that, But actually, can you extend your core service? I
Yeah.
think that gives it success.
Yeah, so which was my question. I think a lot of the digital companies already, have to play in the mobile space. They have to play in the handheld space. So for them, it's a no-brainer. They have to have something on the mobile. But, if I'm an FMCG brand and I'm getting, I'm looking at how do I extend my campaign on the mobile front, what do you think, what are the options for me today?
I think we have to go case by case. I think I think maybe there are slightly different routes to it. Maybe they can use a Facebook app to kind of way of creating engagement. Maybe you kind of get Facebook fans on the go. Maybe you think of apps in a slightly different context. Maybe you try to create a community of users through the app, and then you're able to share product experiences, feedback, customer feedback, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That could be one great way of doing it. Again, going back to the Cafe Coffee Day example, I thought the idea was great. I do not know how the execution was. If you are using a Foursquare app, just use that. A Nokia gentleman was saying that there are 1.5 million points of interest or some
Sure.
fantastically large number. Can you use an app that kind of can integrate with another app that kind of gives you that experience? I think we have to think a bit out of the box. I don't think it can be another deodorant brand trying to exploit an IPL event or something.
Sure.
I think those will simply be money wasted down the drain. I think it has to be something with a bit more thought to it, and I think we can see great success.
Yeah. So coming back, Sandeep, I think then the onus is on a lot of the agencies and the people who are working with the brands to recommend a strategy that cuts across these different mediums. And I don't think anything should be looked at in isolation. It should be, where can I really drive this true convergence of your brand messaging? Can I reach out to your target audience no matter where he is, whether it's the mobile phone or it's the desktop, or even if he is driving to work. So what are have you seen early success where you've actually recommended a convergent play, and is there an example you could share with us?
See, Rishi, first, I spent 25 years in advertising, always brick and mortar stuff, doing media which was well understood and used every day. I'll tell you the first basic mindset issue we got to address before I even start to answer your question. See, all my life I was always talking of TV viewership, or I was talking of newspaper readership. So we were always talking of eyeballs. Now, mobile is not about eyeballs, it's about handshakes. You're carrying the device in your pocket, I'm standing in front of the Levi's store. I can't be telling you Levi's is a great jeans. I mean, that's a job that's already been done on television. Now, in front of the store, I need this guy to go in and buy the product. Now, so that first basic understanding of the medium itself is, I think, critical to any form of success. Now, we as a panel been discussing this bit about apps. I'm a bit non-tech, so I must tell you one thing. From my current experience, no apps, and I'm underlining the word no and apps work. They don't get downloaded first and foremost. When we've had campaigns coming to us and said, I'll pay you so much per download of an app. We were new. I said, okay, let's try it out. Burnt a few million impressions, zero conversion. Now, I went back to the same advertiser and said, you want that app of yours downloaded? He said, yes. I said, give him $50 talk time. He will download the app. Otherwise, what's in it for him? Why should he download the app? You're a bank. I'm not even a customer of your bank. Why should I download your app? Even if I download the app, what is it doing for me that I'm not being able to do on 10 other, media interfaces? Now, wherever a client is willing to first figure out why he wants the app there, your Domino's, you want that app downloaded, give me a $200 Domino's pizza free. Now, as a customer, I've got skin in this transaction. I get the download. I'm telling you, this is our experience. No, and I've tried it now across 15 clients in the last 3 months. Zero success when it comes to download my app on the phone. So first thing is to tell the guy, I am not responsible. I give you X amount of inventory. You want to take it, boss. If it converts, good luck to you. If it doesn't convert, it won't work. You want my advice? Incentivize the guy. he might download the app. Now, we're trying to do that for a bank, and I'm already seeing early success. But there is an incentive built into downloading the app, otherwise we won't download it. Now, contra point of view. I'm telling you, there is more money to be made out of not making the app. Do it on USSD. As an operator, or as the agent of an operator, I will give you the USSD string. What is the USSD? What is the solution? It's actually like creating a small website on SMS. You don't require GPRS, you don't require to have a fancy phone, you don't require even a smartphone. It will work on anything. I'm telling you, the day is not far. You made your biggest money at its Times of India with the 58888 code. You're a smart client today, get yourself a USSD code, a short code. You can work wonders with it. I can give you an interactive menu. I can drive all your locations. I can tell you where your nearest store is. I can give you a discounted offer. I can send you a coupon. I can give you a unique coupon. I can authenticate the coupon. I can put search into it. I can give you a click-through. It takes you, if you have a smartphone, to your website. I can do n number of things on USSD. We're doing that. I don't know the results. We're going to start 1st July. We're doing a huge pilot for more in Bangalore. We're going to repeat that in in Hyderabad. They got 120 stores in Bangalore. They got 100 stores in Hyderabad. So there's an overall offer, and I can have offer on all the carrots and cabbage and potatoes and tea and whatever. Sure. I can drive the menu. I can change the offers. I can do a lot many more things with it. I hope it works.
Yeah.
So there is a solution. It doesn't have to be an app-based solution. It can be a simple USSD solution. Easy to make. I can have it active in 2 hours. You can be working with it. You can choose a geography. You can choose a location. You can do what you want. So I think sometimes a bigger understanding of what the medium can deliver or is capable of is actually more critical.
Okay. So in many ways, USSD is very clunky, according to me. And I feel it's regressive when you talk about smartphones and you talk about all, the cool, sexy stuff that can happen. We're now going back maybe 10 years. But do you think that's really where we should have been? Do you think what we're trying to...
You see, boss, this clunky bit is something I don't understand.
Okay.
But, we've been talking, for example, to one of the largest FMCG companies in the country. He comes to us, he says, I want to do this rural India.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do regular stuff and say, recharge card kar deta hu tere liye. I can do some interesting stuff. What is the solution? No. You got, Radio Mirchi is one of the finest examples of being a phenomenally successful product on mobile.
That's true.
My suggestion to the FMCG company is let me help create a rural radio for you. The customer today is paying $10, 7 days, gets 100 minutes of radio time. Mm-hmm. You pay $5, I'll run that radio only for you. Give him 14 days, give him 200 minutes. That's a solution. But that's rural media dark India. You're looking at a solution 60 years old. You're bringing radio to him.
Sure.
So I don't know this clunky stuff, but I'll tell you it may not be sexy, but it works.
Okay. I think Micromax recently launched a 4,500 rupee Android phone. So this in some way cuts across to a different demographic. But the truth is, if you look at Google's history and you look at Apple's history, they don't just go about amassing customers, they go about monetizing customers. So the end game is probably that the same thing you're doing with USSD, they may actually overlay with location-based services, with alerts, with systems, with partners, and they may have this ecosystem where advertisers can more easily kind of use it, rather than going to an operator and saying, let's open up a USSD gateway, let's do this. So do you feel in some way that's a short-term strategy, more tactical, and not a long-term view on things?
When you started this panel, you asked me about Japan. I mean, they got really sexy stuff, but it works there. Their handphones supported, their technology is supported. Over the years, now the advertisers have kind of figured it out. I know, I remember perhaps telling you the first meeting we had, that if you went to Docomo and you went to the homepage of iMode, they have the equivalent of our front page Solus.
Right.
365 of the days of the year, it's booked, and it's booked years in advance. The number one customer for that is Hollywood movies. They know what exactly which date they're going to release on, so they book the space so much in advance because they know that it is the most watched advertising space in Japan. It happens to be on mobile, it's on WAP, and it works. Now, fact of the matter is, you're talking to in India where 80%, 60%, God knows, different geography. I'm talking, say, UP or Bihar. He doesn't even send SMS. Now, what am I going to do with Sexy Solutions? Either you say, I don't want that customer, which is fine. I mean, then we can take that on face value and say, I don't want the customer. I only want the guy who can afford the smartphone, even if it's a Micromax $1,000 phone, right? But the reality of the market is, if you look at current penetration, you're talking of, say, only Airtel, and that's the brand I represent, it's 180 million customers. Now, if you come to me, you're coming for the volume. If you're coming for the volume and you don't want the volume, then we've got a contradiction in terms. So I don't know if the solutions are regressive, but they're real.
And maybe that's what's needed for this market.
I think we are missing some good, successful case studies in India. I kind of partly agree with what Sandeep said, and I partly kind of had to contest as well. Ultimately, when you come down to monetization, in the same breath, we say, why is mobile monetization difficult? And the reason why why brands and consumer businesses think apps will work is the inherent belief is that a smartphone user has a greater capacity to spend, or a smartphone user has a greater opportunity to engage with the brand, or that the experience is better. USSD has its merits and demerits, and apps certainly has far more demerits than people have actually yet appreciated. I certainly don't dispute that. It's a tough thing to do to actually launch a successful app and to really make it a successful consumer engagement. I think we need more success stories, and I think they are coming. I think there are a few and far in between now, but I think they are coming. And so just a quick statistic, in India, app economy is not that immature as well. I think we do about 3.5 to 4 million downloads every single day in India. And that is incredible number. That really is an incredible number. Nokia alone, I think, is one of the single biggest, app download enablers in India, because the OV store is still pretty massive in what they do. Google Play will get there as more people have Android. So the numbers are growing, and there is a hockey stick happening. So.
Yeah, we launched something called Times Point about 4 months ago, and we've seen about 3.5 million downloads so far, and it's growing every day. And Times Point is a location-based application that kind of points me to places of interest around me. So it's restaurants, events, nightlife, deals, etc. And we're seeing fantastic traction, a lot of time spent. And for us now, the challenge is actually building, the advertiser base. So going out to the small, medium enterprise, to the merchants, and saying, this is a great platform. Can we kind of work with you? And I think, at least from our learnings, is that they're being bombarded with so many different kind of ways to actually improve walk-ins, monetization on their own, that they're a little skeptical today of doing something that's mobile-based and app-based especially.
Yeah, I agree. I go back to Sandeep's first point. There is no common language in mobile marketing today.
Yeah.
Every person comes with his own pitch. Hey, Sandeep, you just made the biggest pitch for USSD.
Yeah.
And coming from you, everybody will just buy it. Somebody with 20 years experience in advertising. Right. But let us say, it's more pitch-driven rather than, let us say, merits-driven or whatever that internet has become, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that maturity will come up.
Yeah. Karan? So again, coming back to the investments that you guys are making today, if you were to kind of give advice to anyone who's an entrepreneur out there and is looking at entering the mobile space, given today's ecosystem, monetization, what would be the advice you'd give them?
Very motherhood and apple pie advice I'd give. I look, there's no I don't think there's a secret sauce to it all. I think you can only look at, some of the statistics that Badri was talking about, some of the practicalities of the ground. India is one of, in terms of mobile apps, India is one of the largest countries in terms of downloads. It's the largest country on GetChart, for instance, by a long, long way. Those are mostly feature phones. So if you're wanting to build a business which is, ad supported on apps or something, mobile web supported, or which works on feature phones, I think there's a great amount of opportunity. You look at the basics of the industry, which are, the number of people browsing the internet on the mobile is going through the roof. There was a presentation made, in the US by Mary Meeker, who's sort of the guru of this all. And, the one startling revelation that she picked up from another third-party source, which everybody in the US sat up to, was she had a number of 100 million mobile internet users, which I think is a little overblown, but I think we'll get there pretty soon. But I think it made the world sort of sit up and notice and say, look, hey, look, this is how India is growing, and are we missing this completely? And I think that's, even internally when we look at it, we're like, there's 900 million mobile users. At some point, most of them will be using the internet on their phones. Now, whether it's in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, that's kind of hard to say. But the number of opportunities that the internet provided for people in the developed world, I think the mobile medium will provide for people in India, and that sort of stretches across the realm of things which can be monetized on the phone directly, or can be monetized through advertising. And I think the advice is build a business which is innovative from a technology standpoint. Obviously, because there's no point becoming a commodity business, but do something which can be scaled up from a business perspective and makes money, not in 3 or 4 years, but in within a year's time frame. So you have proof of concept, and in terms of the reach and the kind of offering that you're doing. It's easy for me to say being an armchair warrior, but obviously don't do a Me Too, don't be a copycat. Try and do something a little bit different. Go into either, address the people in UP and Bihar, for instance. I mean, there are local language and local sort of issues which nobody in Delhi probably is thinking about. But look at that. Look at sort of out of the box kind of ideas. And there are people who are willing to invest behind businesses like that. There's enough sort of evidence of that. And I think the opportunity in itself is tremendously large.
Okay, thanks. So I think, exciting times ahead. We've seen the consumer shift happen. Just to recap, more has to be done on the advertising front, and I think, the next 36 months are going to be critical. We are going to see smartphones improve on a monthly basis. So, we got to do things fast to improve the ecosystem. I think all of us have our work cut out for ourselves, and so does everyone else probably in this room who's looking at entering the space. I think now we could probably open it up for questions from the audience. Yeah.
Question for Sandeep. Sandeep, if you look at the last 12 months, you see this whole mobile advertising, mobile marketing space, you represent Airtel. In terms of people sitting in this audience, what is the size of money a brand is ready to spend on, say, in the mobile? We're not talking just digital, not specific mobile. And give us 2-3 illustrations like stuff that you did. Like we keep on seeing the Coke campaign where you gather something that's a long time through. Or you mentioned the More campaign which hasn't begun. So can you just share with us some idea of what this market is? Is it a brand is willing to spend 50 lakhs? That's the kind of money they spend, or is it 5 lakhs?
I'll give you a very straight answer. 4 hours, EOCN, 32 crore impressions, Star TV, 1 crore of rupees. Sorry.
Yeah, the question was to get a better understanding of the mobile. Hello. Is it better now? The question was, for all of us to get a better understanding of what the mobile marketing budgets in India are of brands, specifically for mobile. What kind of engagement are they doing? Some campaigns done in the last 12 months. Sandeep was just giving some illustrations.
I was telling you about Star. 4 hours campaign. I told you 32 crore EOCN messages. 1 crore. That's the largest. At least the one we've done so far. That's not very far. Average size of engagement. A month-long campaign for, say, a More in a single city geography. He covers about 120 outlets. It cost him between 10 and 12 lakhs. Not too expensive. 10,000 rupees. I've worked the calculation whichever way, but about 20 lakhs is what he's going to spend in a month. And he's going to get a fairly large dosage of good quality communication. It's spread across apertures, so that's pretty decent. Doing 3 different, very interesting projects with 2 different banks, right? One is every week I open a new branch I want people around the branch to know I've opened up or I've opened up a new ATM. Index of cost, you run it for about a month. I could do a 2 kilometer to 5 kilometer radius for you in ₹1,00,000. I don't know if that's a good indication. I want to sell gold coins in this city. 1 month campaign. I could do you a very good quality cut on the kind of people you want to reach. Between 3 and 5 lakhs, full month. Good quality, very, very focused, good quality audience. I want to reach all SMEs around Cyber City. Easy, not so easy. I want to open current accounts, okay, with everybody who is self-employed, professional, stroke, good quality employees, SMEs, easier to get. 1 month campaign, 5 to 7 lakhs. These are real numbers. But the point is, if you have enough number of such conversations going, it can become a fairly large pool of money, right? I'm happy to report, this is fact. We've got, as of, we're closing the first quarter of our selling for Airtel, 41 clients on board. Includes Nestle, includes Ricketts, includes Levers, Pepsi, Coke, Samsung, Nokia, ICICI, Pru, HDFC, Standard Life, Insurance, I could go on. They're all good quality clients. Star TVs, Zee TV, Colors, Sony, all of them, right? We did IPL for Royal Challengers Bangalore, putting bums on seats in stadiums. So, well, various things we could do to it. The engagement quantum per se is not large because most of these campaigns are very short period. It's not as if you're running the campaign for 3 months. You want it on 2 days or 1 day, or you want it over 1 week. So if in a week I can get, say, 5 lakhs for that particular activity of a client and I can do 5 such campaigns for him in a month, we're doing good. We will start a very large engagement with Maruti next month. There are 6 or 7 very interesting, projects that have been approved. Overall engagement over a year, I hope with a client like that, would run into a few crores. So it's not as if the market is small. Market's large. I must tell you, it's extremely frustrating. It's very tiring. When I first got into this, and from my own experience selling television and so on and so forth, I thought I could close a deal maybe in 3 meetings. I can tell you, there are meetings and meetings and meetings. I know the MD, the marketing director used to work for me, but I am meeting the brand manager. It doesn't help that his boss and his boss's boss are friends of mine. 19 meetings, no closure. But the worst, very savvy digital company, wanted to target a certain class of professionals. So we also used a lot of gray matter going into it, and we said, okay, fine, why don't I attack? And I identified 41 IT parks across the country and said, I know how many people come into this park every day. I know how many of them come for more than 6 to 8 hours every day. I also know how many of them have smartphones. I know how many of them come, how many days of the week, so I can identify actually that this guy must be working here, right? We went through 3 months of working the data, 41 different locations, everything done. Said, okay, can we now start some activity? He said, I have 1 lakh budget. I have 1 lakh budget. So I looked him in the eye. I said, I could speak to your boss, I wouldn't. But for you, I have a personal message. He said, what? I said, go fly a kite. So you got to understand, it's not easy. The medium has lots of potential. It's going to go to phenomenal heights. But it requires an equally receptive mind sitting on the other side. That's the reality.
I think the key thing is, Sandeep, it also seems that there aren't very many successful case studies in the market space. You're doing a lot of new initiatives, but maybe one of the reasons, and if you see, you started by saying a few lakhs up to 1 crore being the largest. So it shows that the market size of mobile marketing in India may be 20 crores for the year, last year, right?
I would think it's more. Just for us on the Times of India's website, we'll do about 5 crores. So that's a sizable number for us. And we were at 1.5 crores last year. So we are seeing growth. We are seeing more advertisers come to the medium, but that's because we position ourselves as a premium channel. We can actually go and get disproportionate pricing. But the reality is, when you do go to the market and you do talk to advertisers, they're still discounting this medium, even though it is a more precise, more targeted medium, in spite of you having more information and actually getting better conversions. And I think this is a similar thing that happens with most mediums. With the internet, we went through a phase. With video advertising, we went through a similar phase. And it's only now that they've realized that, yes, this is a medium, there is social engagement, that there is a premium associated to advertising with certain brands. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen on mobile in the long run. You're going to see them spending more. They are in a sample stage right now where it's sexy to be on mobile, but there aren't really large success stories for brands to take back to the brand managers to then justify more spends on this medium.
I had a question, couple of parts. I wanted to draw your attention here.
Okay.
I wanted to draw your attention on tablet adoption. We're seeing a lot of low-cost tablet, value for money tablet, let me say, put it this way, in India. So do you think people who are buying those tablets, can mobile advertising also leverage that screen, and also a joint campaign could be launched on those two screens? That's question number one. And the second part is, we are seeing a lot of new technologies like QR codes, where consumer are actually reaching out proactively and getting mobile advertisements on them. And I've seen companies like Telebrahma doing fairly well, Coke campaign, and a lot of auto campaign. Is that a trend that you're seeing?
I'll try answering the first one. I'm not close to the QR codes. I think tablets, we can actually quote some statistics also. On tablets, the display advertising market for mobile is very, very vibrant, even in India, no matter how small it is. What marketers call eCPMs on tablets is actually 5 times higher than on a mobile phone today. It's actually upwards of $1, $1.50 on a tablet. Now, obviously, and of course, mobile gives you, mobile internet particularly gives you location targeting, so you can do local, whatever you want to do. And I was speaking with InMobi, because we are large customers of each other and so on, and they were quite confident in saying all the tablet inventory for the next 4 months is all sold out. So to that extent, tablet is small, nascent, but it's hugely profitable for at least the ad agencies. There's no doubt about it. I don't know much about QR codes. If Sandeep, you can share.
I think, Sandeep, in our first meeting, that was the pitch, that why doesn't the newspaper carry a QR code for every ad they do?
To that extent, I can take credit for the fact that you do now how many ads carry the QR code. The sad part of the story, see, when I was first exposed to QR codes was, I think, late 90s. Started going to Japan and I'd see this, jumbled up kind of thing there, and it looked very nice. So I asked how it works and whatever. So I thought this was a great, mechanism. And when I first met him, and we took some of the times people to Japan and we showed them the QR code and whatever. Now, the one thing I go back to that whole business of the ecosystem. The problem is the devices in India don't support the QR code. So you can't really shoot it. I can't get it accurately. Even if I do shoot it, the operating system doesn't then convert it to whatever it should convert it to. For example, I had somebody gave me a very, very nice looking card yesterday, and he said, I said, very nice, you got a big, huge QR code on it. He said, shoot it. I shot it with my Apple iPhone, and he said, you must have got my contact in your contact list. I said, no, it hasn't. So I said, why don't you try? So he tried. We tried again, and we tried again, but it didn't really work. So the point is, one thing Japan did was, they had their devices work for them. In fact, their damn devices don't work anywhere else in the world. So if the device doesn't work the way it should, it won't work. I want, from your stand, I want to give you one example. It's not totally related to your question on the tablet or whatever. I just want to give you one very quick one, because it's something everybody could take back. I've seen McDonald's as a success, as a failure, and again as a success in the Japanese market, all dependent on the mobile phone. They're the first guys who actually figured out this whole thing about near-field communication, which means if you went to a McDonald's and they figured out that you like the fish fillet, and they had captured that on the database, much like the QR code, if you went close to the device and you put your phone, they just pick the information off you. So the server at McDonald's would look at me and say, so Mr. Goyal, will it again be a fish fillet? McDonald's in Japan were here in 94. In 2001, they were almost close to shutting in Japan. By 2009-10, McDonald's was at almost 180% of what they were in 1994. Success completely driven just by the mobile phone. So if you have devices that work with the ecosystem, which then works with whatever you're creating in terms of communication, it can do wonders.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, there are companies like ZipDial. I think that they powered the pole right now. Now, I think, they're at the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot they can do. I mean, at the end of the day, a QR code is sending and retrieving data or information. And similar to what ZipDial is doing, I mean, there's no reason why they can't put in a URL in the SMS that comes back to you. It's going to probably give you the same effect. So for every campaign, if you have something like that, I think, and that's catering to a local market. So I think we're out of time here, and I hope we didn't get too much time to answer too many questions, but thank you guys have been a fantastic panel.